I'm informed that I'm live, which is kind of cool. Today's reading is something I'm going to read all the way through, and then I'm going to give you my take on it, my comments. Okay? So here we go. It's entitled Closets Are for Clothes. First quote is from someone I'm sure most of you have heard of, maybe not everybody, but most people, is Marianne Williamson. I've actually seen her live a few times, and she can be pretty dynamic and a little bit of a spitfire. Anyway, she says, your playing small does not serve the world. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And that's from A Return to Love, Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles. So whether you're a fan of the Course in Miracles or not, and I know Marianne Williamson is, obviously, there's a lot of good stuff in it. Ernest Holmes in Help for Today, and it's a big volume, it's page 211, paragraph 7. And this kind of sums up a lot of New Thought philosophy. He says, there's no place where your mind leaves off and the mind of God begins. There is no place where the nature of humanity leaves off and the nature of God begins. The power is one, indivisible spirit, and you are part of it, not as a fragment separate from it, but as an essence merged with it. So you are one with the divine. Your mind is one with the divine mind. And this is Raymond Anderson who says, why have the numbers of proposed and passed anti-LGBTQIA2+ policies and legislation been on the rise? Why do we see epidemic levels of trans women of color being beaten and murdered? These actions are due to religious persecution and abuse, emotional abuse, abandonment, physical assaults, and people feeling the need to remain closeted, a sense of safety. If you are a straight cisgender person, imagine for a moment what it would feel like if you had to hide the fact that you love whom you love. What does it feel like to pretend that you're something that you're not? And can you imagine how it would feel if revealing who you are could lead to losing your job, losing your housing, losing your friends, and losing your family? This is why many LGBTQIA2+ people remain in the closet. It's safer physically, emotionally, and financially. In the Bible, the Apostle Peter denied Jesus 3 times after Jesus was arrested. His denying that he knew or followed Jesus is an example of how fear causes us to shrink, hide, and deny not only who we are, whom we love, and what we believe, but also who and what we know. It takes courage to first come out to yourself long before you can come out to others. Why would anyone, regardless of who they are, need courage simply to be precisely who they are? Then he says, I would ask each of you to consider these questions. Are you in a spiritual closet of sorts? Do you have a hard time acknowledging your own spiritual magnificence? And then he says, why? Okay, well, there's a couple of things here. The first one is about gay people, for want of a better expression, instead of repeating the whole LGBTQ thing. I know And a lot of my friends who I know are of the opinion that this is not natural, that being attracted to a member of the opposite sex, of the same sex, as opposed to the opposite sex, is just completely unnatural, and it's against everything that the religion teaches them. It's against everything that they believe that God would acknowledge. With that in mind, I went to my favorite chat GPT, actually on my iPad. I asked the question, do animals express traits of homosexuality? I mean, animals other than human beings. Okay. And the answer I got was it was quite straightforward, actually. There was nothing odd about it. It said, yes, animals do express traits of homosexuality. Same-sex behaviors have been observed in hundreds of animal species across mammals, birds, reptiles, insects, and even animals. And then it gave a whole bunch of examples, some great apes, dolphins, penguins, rams, giraffes, and so on. And then it gives some reasons why it thinks that might happen. But the bottom line is that the argument is that it's unnatural to be attracted to people of the same sex. Let's leave all the transgender stuff out of it because that's another issue. Which is why I went and Googled this. Is it a verb now? I AI'd it. I went to AI, actually ChatGPT in this case. And that's the answer it gave me. And the reason I did this was because it defeats the argument that it's unnatural. If this type of behavior is exhibited by animals, domesticated and wild, etc., then it's natural. It's part of the natural order of things. And I don't believe that a God that created everything like this, including animals that have these preferences, would condemn people, human beings who have these same traits. To me, it's quite natural. So that is what I wanted to get across today. That's really my main message today, actually. The other one, he says, is, do you have a hard time acknowledging your own spiritual magnificence, and why? Well, and he says, are you in a spiritual closet of sorts? I'm not sure here if he's referring simply to people who are gay as opposed to straight, or if he's referring to everybody in general. I take it because it's a separate paragraph and it's not referring to everybody. So do you deny who you are and your preferences and what you think? I mean, I think the idea of creation is diversity, and it's diversity in all its many ways. So I think it's perfectly okay to have differing views than everybody else, whether it's about sexuality, whether it's about religion, whether it's about anything in general. So anyway, that's where I'm coming from today. I mean, naturally, as a straight white male, I can't get into the mindset of anybody who is different than that. I can't even get into the mindset of a straight white female, or in my wife's case, a straight biracial female. I just can't do that. I can't even get into the minds of white people, especially white males, who grew up in this country through a lot of the racial stuff. I didn't. I grew up in Europe. I was a fully grown adult when I came here. So I can't even get into the minds of people like that. And the point I'm making is, you can't get into somebody else's mind. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what's driving them. You don't know what they've had to put up with. But to me, this is a call for us to accept people as they are. Now, I'm not saying accept people who do really foul things. That's a whole other story, which may be choice, it may be mental illness, I don't know. I'm simply talking about regular choices in life. You know? I mean, I'm not a wonderful artist in the sense of painting and drawing and that kind of thing, but I'm pretty good with words. It's different. So this is, to me, moving into a place where we are able to accept people for who they are. We may not see or even agree with their point of view, but I can see it. You know, I mean, I can see different sides of political points of view. The point of view I come from is that we have a responsibility to try and make this world a better place to live in. Not everybody agrees with that. There are different ways and means of getting to it as well. So this is my preaching for today. So I hope it's something for you to think about. This would also be a good place to actually bring somebody else on and discuss all this. So maybe as like yesterday's, I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. So my message to everybody, irrespective of, and he's got a long affirmation. God expresses God, and that expresses as me. He attributes this to Joel Goldsmith, and that's okay. It really doesn't matter where it came from. God expresses God, and that expresses as me. So my final blessing to everyone is I know that each and every person on this planet has got something special to offer. And it's our job to find out what that thing or those things are and then to express it because we're all different. We all have different gifts. And I know that this is truth. I'm grateful that it is so. And I'm able to release this into that divine mind that Ernest Holmes says I am a part of. That there's nowhere where it ends and I begin and vice versa. I let it go and I call it good and done. And so it is.